Dr. Jim Stoppani's Uncut.
Hey guys, welcome to the second podcast or videocast, whether you're listening or watching, of Jim Stoppani's Uncut. Today my co-host is Alencia Williams, the Tiger Trainer. And Alencia, I want to thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Give a shout out to your social media, how people can follow you.
So you can check me out at www.thetigertrainer.com, and I'm on Facebook, The Tiger Trainer, and Twitter at ALLYNCIA. Instagram is AT_Williams. So I look forward to seeing your messages, and thank you for following my page.
Yeah, and check her out. She's very active, just like I am on her social media outlet. So, and you guys all know mine is just at Jim Stoppani, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and yes, I now have Snapchat, so check me out there. It's really a lot of fun. I don't know if you've tried Snapchat yet.
I got Tumblr. I need to move into Snapchat.
Yeah, definitely check out Snapchat. It's a little more personalized. You can actually send people little personal videos. It's really, I love it.
Yeah.
Because I love talking to the gym army, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, today's episode we're going to focus on resistance bands or elastic band training and using them in your training programs. For those of you who've been following me for a while, you know I'm a huge believer in using resistance band training. It's a great adjunct to regular, free weight training when it's used properly, and it's a great way to train when you're traveling. A lot of people ask me on social media, like, I'm a marine biologist, and so I have these trips where I'm on a ship. We really don't have any equipment on the ship. What can I do? Do you have bodyweight exercise? Or I'm going camping for a week and I don't have any access to a gym. The easiest thing is to bring along a set of bands. They're lightweight, so they travel easily. Whenever I travel, no matter where I go, in my carrying or my luggage, I put a set of bands in there, and I use body elastics bands, because a lot of times, even if there is a gym available, I may be in meetings all day, and then I literally have, a few minutes at the end of the night, I can do a full workout in my hotel room. So do you happen to use resistance bands with your clients or your own training?
I love bands. Like, for example, this bench, you could tie a band here, and you could do some kind of leg extension exercise.
Exactly.
You could turn over on your stomach and, work your hammies.
Do leg right.
Yes.
And that's
curls.
a great point is for those who trained at home, and let's say you only have, a set of dumbbells and a barbell, you don't have, a leg extension or a leg curl machine. It's a great way to do leg curls. Or if you don't have a cable machine, bands can mimic cable. Exactly. You can do cable crossovers, you can do band lateral raises. They're really great for mimicking cable exercises. But I just want to talk about, few people realize there's a lot of science behind using bands. Now, people think because they're so flimsy that they're on the scale of effectiveness, free weights are here and bands are sort of down here. In actuality, bands provide more benefits than free weights. Now, I'm not saying that you should be doing bands instead of free weights, but I'm just saying that bands provide benefits that free weights do not. And one of those is what we call linear variable resistance. And that simply means that when you do a band exercise, let's say you're doing a band press, it actually gets harder the further you go through the range of motion, because you're stretching the band. That material now has, has more resistance because you're stretching the material. And as you stretch an elastic material like that, the force that you need to apply to continue pulling it gets harder. So what does that mean? Well, it has several benefits, and one is power production. Let's take a standard free weight bench press, right? When you're doing the bench press, and if your goal is really strength, You want to provide as much power, which means moving that weight as fast as possible through the range of motion. But what happens with a bench press is as you're pressing it up at the top, you actually slow the movement down. Because if you didn't, the bar would fly out of your hands. Okay, so let's say you're doing an exercise with a bench press that you can do 10 reps with, right? On that first rep, you literally would be able to throw that bar out of your hands if you went with full explosive power with that bar. But you don't want to do that. So what happens is, as you get to the halfway point, you actually start slowing the bar down as you're pressing. You're actually slowing its momentum down. That decreases your power production. When you're doing bands, you don't have to slow it down because the bands continue providing more and more resistance. You actually have to continue speeding it up, and that helps to maximize the fast twitch muscle fibers. So a great way to use bands, like on the bench press, is, and you guys can see my videos on this on YouTube, is to actually attach bands to the barbell bench press. Then you have the free weight, and you also have the band weight. And so that allows you to continue that explosive power without having to slow down the bar, and that's going to help build more power, and power leads to more strength. So that's one of the many benefits of bands that few people realize. Another benefit of bands for more functional training, like with athletes, is it provides resistance in any plane, any direction. So let's take a tennis player, for example. The reason I'm saying tennis players is because there's actually a study done on tennis players where they found that when they used elastic band training to practice their serve, it increased the speed of their serve, which is critical for high-level tennis players. You can't, so when you're doing a motion like this, which is very horizontal, you can't get the same resistance with a free weight. Free weight, it's only fighting gravity, so you're basically up and down. So if you wanted to mimic this exercise, doing a serve, and I'm not a good tennis player, so I'm not doing a great example of a serve, but you get the point. You have this as a horizontal motion going this way. You would have to take the athlete, lie them down, and put a weight on their hand and have them mimic that motion. Now that's great, but because they're lying down, they're not getting where the real force comes from, which is the lower body when you're doing a serve in the hips. But you can do that with bands. You get the whole, you're having resistance while you're doing the actual movement that you're going to be performing in your sport with the whole body. So it's very, very functional. And that's one of the many benefits. Same thing with a baseball swing. You can put the weighted bats or put the donuts on the bat. But again, you're not getting that full resistance because it's a horizontal motion. Whereas if you did that with bands, it would provide that resistance that you need. So that's one of the many other benefits of bands. Another one is continual tension. So if you take like an exercise like the curl, where you're curling a weight up, as you come up here, this point, as you're moving towards, the hand is moving towards the shoulder, the weight, you're not really fighting much gravity now because you're no longer going straight up and down. You have a little bit of a horizontal movement here. So at the top of a motion with a curl, you're not really getting much resistance in the top position. So you're not able to really get a good peak contraction. With a band, if you set the pull of resistance up properly, you not only get the resistance all the way up, but you also get the resistance at the very top, and that's going to help with peak contraction. That can help with strength, that can help with power, and that can help with muscle development. And the research on bands shows that when bands are added to regular free weight training, athletes get significantly stronger. So it's
it's a nice finishing move.
It really, and that's another way you can do it. And I actually have a program. I have many programs that utilize band training on my website, but one of the programs that I have is called, it's basically called three-way training, where you're doing a free weight move. So you take an exercise like lateral raises, for example. So you're doing a free weight version, followed by a cable version, followed by a band version. So, and the band version comes at the end.
It's good to have the different weights as well.
Exactly.
The different strength or resistance.
Yeah, it's different
levels.
resistance, and people actually report anecdotally that they can feel the difference in the way that the muscle works when they do bands versus free weights. So it's a nice change of pace.
Stimulates the muscle.
Exactly, because like I said,
Extends
it's getting
levels.
harder as you go through the range of motion, which is going to utilize more of those fast twitch muscle fibers, which are the ones that grow faster and bigger. And also you get a greater peak contraction, at the end of that range of motion. And in fact, when I travel, a lot of times I purposely won't go to the gym, even though I may have all the time I need, and I have access to pretty much any gym when I travel that I want to. But a lot of times I prefer doing the bands because it's just different. It's providing me a different type of resistance. And one of my huge mottos is that variety in everything is the best way to continue progress. So that's variety in weight use, rep ranges, rest periods, exercises, and this is where exercises come into play. So even though you're doing, let's say, a lateral raise or a curl with a free weight versus a curl with bands is completely a different exercise, and that's going to be.
You can throw it in with a shortcut to shred or a shortcut to size, just something to throw into the routines, because many people, they do your programs over and over. I have, over and over again, but you don't have to do exactly the same move. You just want to do, okay, you're traveling, so, okay, he wants you to do leg extension. Oh, okay, so maybe you can put it on the bedpost here and then, get that, leg extension in. And then, take it to the other side. But it's important to pack 2 different weight sizes, just in case something is a bit too challenging. Maybe you could go higher reps, or just if you have the heavier one with you, you just go as many as you can to failure.
Yeah, and actually the Body Elastics bands that I use has, the yellow, which is the lightest, then green, red, blue, black, purple.
Those are the heaviest.
Red, no, the orange actually. The orange is like 60 pounds per band. So, and the way that the system's worked up, you could attach all those different bands to the handle, and it provides like several hundred pounds of if you could actually move that. But I mean, it's few people can. So so you definitely want a variety of tubing resistance, and usually they come in different colors, and that's basically the color scheme will tell you. A lot of times, if you look in the book, the Body Elastic bands actually, let's see if I have one available, actually are written right on the actual band. It tells you what I have one here that's all set up because, like I said, I use these frequently in my training. The green one is providing you, it's about a 5 pound
Oh, that's nice.
Resistance, but because of the way that the handles are here, it has this big ring here, you could put, as many bands on here as you need.
Really nice.
So if you are maxed out with the orange one, you could put on, an extra green one and really, really fine tune your resistance. So it's without a doubt, one of the tools that I highly recommend adding to, like I said, whether you're trained at home, whether you travel, whether you have a full gym with all the equipment, Gold's Gym, Venice Beach, if you train there, I still recommend
take it along. Bring your own equipment
to add it. And like I said, you can take any of my programs or any program out there and add bands just to add some variety. You can either add it to the free weights. So like I said, with the bench press, you can actually attach it to the bar. Same with the squat. And you guys can see my videos on how you do that. Or you could just decide that, in this program it says dumbbell lateral raises, but I've already done the program. This time I'm going to make the lateral raises band lateral raises.
Just step onto the band.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very
do your biceps.
Very simple. So, band training is not, something that you see soccer moms only using. I mean, bands have been, around for over a century. You know, they actually started as a fitness tool, and then physical therapists and athletic trainers realized the potential that they had for helping athletes recover from injury. You know, another nice thing is, let's take something like the squat, for example. When you're doing a squat with bands, as you're in the lower position, it's lighter, and then it gets heavier. So you can really adjust the resistance through the range of motion. So if you find that they're doing like a squat or even a rotator cuff exercise, it's very minimal resistance at the beginning. So if it starts hurting, you can back off.
Right.
Versus if you had a dumbbell, it's going to start hurting right at the beginning. So that's one of the many benefits. And actually, there was speaking of rotator cuff muscles, there was a study done in injured athletes, and they found that the ones that used band resistance versus free weight resistance for their rotator cuff muscles or external, internal rotation exercises, they recovered their strength faster and better than those using dumbbells. And it probably comes down to the fact that it's that linear variable resistance. It really gets harder through the range of motion, and you get more peak contraction, and you use more of those fast twitch muscle fibers. So,
Excellent.
yeah, so they're great for as a therapeutic tool. They're great for travel. They are great for mixing it up. They're great for strength athletes, and I mean, like, I'm not talking, someone who just, wants a cheap way to increase their performance. I'm talking about, world-class and professional athletes actually use bands, like I said, along with their strength training, because it's that effective. So definitely, guys, consider using bands. You can look for more of my band programs at jimstoppani.com, and you can check out a great set of bands at bodyelastics.com. So any final words you want to say?
Check out my Instagram, because I do a band movement on a bench at my apartment. And basically it's very easy to set up, and you can increase the pressure, the strength, if you don't even have a heavy enough band, just by wrapping it up that much more to work your hammies, to work your quads. You can get a good leg workout at home, and definitely pack your bands, bring them to the gym. Be prepared, make it different, make it happen.
Excellent. Well, again,
Lencia,
thanks for joining me today's podcast, and I want to thank you guys for joining in. Check out all my other podcasts as well, and don't forget, you can also watch my live Google chats every Friday, but also if you missed them, they're on my YouTube channel as well, so you can watch, although it's not live at that point, but you can get, you can at least see the topics that I cover. So thanks again, guys, and this is Jim Stoppani, and
Lencia the Tiger Trainer.
take care.